YouTube. It's Sunday afternoon, and I'll just hold it. I was gonna play tennis today, but it was a little bit wet outside, so I canceled. And I'll see that person tomorrow evening. Anyways, I got a lesson then, so I did drive down the road and I saw the Vetter Mountain Trail is opened up now for the mountain, and I'd like to go and hike that later on today instead. Let's do it solo. The reason I'm making a video is because I have about an hour in between. I wanted to share with you something. So my buddy bought a book recently called Your Next 5 Moves. This one right here by Patrick Bet David. Now I've read this already and I always make notes. So I read this on that day. So I read it once and it's a good book, but I found it was too long. When I put that down, it means it was a little too long. That means for me, I would have probably rushed the second half of the book, or second, third, last half. Anyways, I like Patrick Bet David. He's a good guy. He seems pretty honest. He's hard. He's badass. But I like that. Anyways, I'm gonna go through. So I make these notes. If you look here, I always fold parts of the pages, and I noticed I did on this book. I do on every book. So you'll see these little tabs that I make. See, like that would be an example. So whatever that page is we're gonna go through it together. I hope that's okay with you. So I'm going to set my freaking salad bowl. The reason I use chopsticks is because there's actually way more structure in chopsticks. And I was trying to get structure in my life because it's so chaotic. And I managed to figure it out through the Japanese helped me. Those are Japanese. Those are actually, these are Japanese. There's 3 different main styles of chopsticks. These are pretty much the best ones you're gonna get. They're, you might actually pay attention here to the book. The Japanese ones are my favorite. They're pointy. They're made out of wood. Okay, so I have to be right by that chair. Perfect. I feel like I'm on TV. Okay, let's get comfortable. To my father, Gabriel Bet David. Author's notes. I'm gonna skip this. We're gonna go into my tabs to review the book. So next time I talk to my buddy Brad, I'll be able to teach him a few things. He's younger than me. Right, page number 1, tab. Okay. Discover what role suits you best. That's a good way to start. Okay, can you see this? Let's see what we have here. An inventor, an entrepreneur. Okay, so the entrepreneur leads in who do you want to be? Inventor, entrepreneur. Now I remember what he's talking about. Now this is the guy who's behind the guy who puts in a major investment, and sometimes those guys are a lot better. So the entrepreneur will have like an angel investment. He'll put in all his own money, and the entrepreneur is the guy who's running a lot of this stuff. I could have this totally wrong, but this is why I'm going through the book again. So once I turn off this video, I'll look that up myself. I would recommend you guys do it again because I'm not going to go over it unless it says what that's in here on some page. CEO, we know what that is. Support team, you need a good support team. A solopreneur, sales, influencer. So an influencer is pretty important too. Solopreneur. So that I believe is probably what I am. Okay, that is page 14. If you read this book, get on to page 14 and learn this stuff because I've obviously forgotten it. Let's go to our next one. So I'm going to review that myself within this hour, so I won't forget it next time. Okay, I've got 2 more here. Okay, study the most important product, you. Now that is true, man. It's not your clothes, it's not your shoes, it's not what you drive or the house you live in. It's you. You take it all away. I feel like I feel like I'd be the man even though I was walking down the street naked. Like I would be able to beat everyone's ass. Anyways, it's you. So study it, figure out who you are. All right, let's see what I said. So, the most difficult things in life is to know yourself. Now that's true. A lot of people call me out on my stuff. I can give you a perfect example. I was speaking of tennis. I was at the tennis lesson recently, and the guy didn't show up. Now this is my first lesson. I just started lessons in Abbotsford in that big white dome. Nobody knows what it is unless you actually look it up. And I showed up. It was Easter. I think it was Easter, that Monday. No, that's not technically a holiday. He decided to make it a holiday and he didn't show up. So I got stood up on Easter by this guy, and it's my first lesson. I told the guy at the front desk when I walked in, I said, "Hey, where's this instructor? I paid. Here's the email confirmation. It's supposed to be Monday evening, 7 p.m. Let's say." And the young kid looks into my email on my phone, and he says, "Oh, that's with the instructor Andre. I'll give him a phone call." And I said, "No, I'm Andre. This is like a receipt saying I'm Andre." Now the reason I said this is because nobody has my name. Nobody has a name like Andre. Anyways, I go through my whole life. You really never meet an Andre. Not where I live, anyways. And the guy says, "Oh, well, your instructor is also named Andre." Now, I didn't know this. I don't review these receipts. And I'm like, so Andre stood me up. I was actually, I felt quite perturbed. I definitely, would have called them out on it. I don't like that. It wasted my whole night. Now, there was a good thing. I don't waste time. So I made something special out of that time that I had there. I'll save it for another video. I've got to collect it. Maybe I'll tell you at the end. So this guy named Andre stood me up on Easter. So I told the young gentleman at the front, I don't want to get off topic. I always tell these stories anyways. And I said, "Hey, give this guy a phone call. Like this is inappropriate. You stood me up on Easter." And he phones him up. Now I'm not talking. I just sit back, chill out for a bit. And he hangs up the phone and he comes and talks to me, the young guy. Now I probably scare him because I can be a bit, aggressive. I am. But I know how to manage it very, very well. So I never lose my cool really. But the guy comes back to me, this young guy, and he says, "Oh, I phoned Andre and Andre says it's Easter, so we don't have a lesson tonight." I said, man, I was kind of upset. I said, he couldn't have messaged me. He couldn't have told you this. He couldn't have said anything. It specifically says this day. And so when it says right here, it says, study the most important product. Now, obviously, you need to know who you are. And I'm thinking, if anyone was going to stand me up, other than the odd girl who once in a while when I was younger doesn't show up, it doesn't really matter. I'm thinking, I stood myself up. This guy, Andre, did exactly the stuff that I shouldn't do sometimes, right? Like, no, I don't do this anymore, but I'm aware of myself. That's the moral of the story. I'm aware of it. And it was really good that he reinstated this belief that I know you can't be selfish, because if he wanted to stay home, he now hurt my feelings by not, going through the right channels. So I've got to make sure it's always about giving. It's always about giving. And I've known this for a long time now, but you got to always give. You always have to put the other person first. Super important. As soon as you're feeling hurt or something, it means you're thinking about yourself. You have to put the other person first. So Andre, I was nice to him. He doesn't know I was perturbed, but I was nice to him. We get along. We're friends. He's an old guy. He's kind of cool. I like this guy. Like if there's gonna be a guy who's named Andre, this guy will be cool enough to fit that name. And that's just me talking. Okay, so we have some things here. The most difficult things in life to know is yourself. There are 3 things extremely hard: steal, a diamond, and to know one's self. And you, this is a whole new line, and you, question mark, when will you begin the long journey into yourself? Ooh. I won't go into that, but that's kind of a good statement in this book. Now, those are all from different people, but obviously he has the knowledge from those people. He's learned. I don't want to talk too quiet. Okay, we have another one. Tab right here. We read books about studying other people. We focus on how to read, persuade, and influence them. That's certainly valuable. But imagine if you were to spend as much time studying something more important. Studying others gives us the knowledge, but studying yourself ultimately leads to an incredible amount of freedom. Studying yourself helps you reach self-acceptance. Oh yeah, I've learned that about myself. And I got a long way to go. Which liberates you from your self-judgment. Instead of beating yourself up all of the time, you learn to accept yourself, and as I did, realize that what you thought were your shortcomings can actually be assets. I am going to continue to remind you that the most important person to study is the only person you are going to have to live the rest of your life with, and that is you. Jeez, man, this book is worth it just hearing this stuff, man. And always save your books. One thing about me, I never lend out a book, ever. And I tell people right away, they want to borrow a book, I say, no, go buy your own book, man. I don't lend out my books. And there's a reason behind that, and that's a whole other story. It's a deep reason. It's very passionate. But the simple reason is, if you can't go and spend, I buy most of my books on eBay, Amazon or eBay, and I'm quite happy buying a used book. Save $3, it's the same product, and it comes a week later, it's totally fine. If you can't pay under $10 to get a little book like this in your life, you clearly don't want it bad enough. Figure out how to get $10 and buy the book. The bottom line is, anything you get for free in this life, you don't really take care of it. For example, your body and your mind. A lot of people neglect those things. They're free. And then if they pay for it, they take care of it. Like they take care of your freaking all your stuff, your watch. Oh, I gotta take care of this. I paid good money for this. But they won't take care of themselves. It's a hard lesson to learn. Okay. I'm liking this. I think I'm gonna do this more often. It's like, I never had kids. I really wish I did when I was younger. Now I'm okay with whatever happens, but it's like reading to YouTube. I'm a YouTuber. Graduate to your next why. Simon Sinek made a good video on why. Now I know some of this stuff. I don't need to know any more than I do, but look it up. It's on YouTube. Simon Sinek why video. It's very popular. I probably watched it about 10 years ago. And when it first came out on YouTube, it was good. So let's see what, okay, I've only put on a comment on this. I usually put the note down towards the most important part. So it says, okay, let's start with the bottom. Survival, level 1. Yes, if you don't work, you die. You cannot survive properly. I know this, man. I'm telling you, work like you're going, if you don't, you're going to die. That's tough. Now, I haven't read this whole thing, but I'm just telling you, survival is pretty important, right? Status. It's level 2. Freedom. Oh, freedom is kind of nice. Now, I don't know if you'll ever be free on this earth. You can chase it your whole life. You can live off the grid somewhere, man. Is it better? Is it truly free? I think the best thing is to just be happy within your soul, man. Purpose. You need a purpose in life, even when you're old. Why stop working? Work is beautiful. You're giving to the world. Pay your taxes and build roads for the next generation. Okay, let's see what we have here. Chapter 3. I didn't eat enough. I should have eaten before I did this. Your path to creating wealth. All I had was 3 cups of coffee, about 3 bites of salad. That's it. Not even water. I should have had water after last night. Your path to creating wealth. Intrapreneur or entrepreneur. This is the part. Obviously, I had to read this slow to understand it, and I still don't remember. So I'm probably going to hit it up. Now, I do read slow sometimes, but I can read faster. I'm not a fast reader, but I didn't really do much of it when I was younger. I kind of learned as I got older, but I read a little slower, but I usually don't have to read it twice. Okay, you want to choose a path that puts the odds of winning in your favor.